Hello guys, how are you doing? So what are we going to do today? Today we're going to make a rock paper scissors app covering a very important concepts in programming language called variables, lists, and functions. So let us get started. Here is just an example of how our app will look like, and we can also set our devices and we can automatically play rock paper and scissors game like how it's shown in the video. So let us get started. So the first thing that I want you to do is I want you to go to Google and search for rock, paper, scissors, Mickey. Why we're using this is because we are gonna use the rock, scissors, and paper images in our app. So how you're gonna save it is right click on it and say save images and save it to the folder that you want. So I have already downloaded all the images and placed it in a folder called rock, paper, scissors in my desktop. So with this I can go back to Thunkable. I scroll down in my app tree and choose a file from there. And then I go to desktop and I search for my folder, and here are the images that I downloaded. And I forgot to mention, but I also want you to download this cute rock, paper, scissors intro image that you want to put, and also image of loading, so that it kind of looks like the image is loading. So I am going to upload all of this really quickly. Alright, so I am done uploading the images. Now what I do is I am going to add the picture of a game onto the screen first and add a play button. So the first thing that I will do is search for image and drag and drop that onto the screen, and also search for button. Search for button and drag and drop that onto the screen. Okay, so I don't want the button to be above the image, so I'm just gonna drag it below. Alright, looks good. I also want to change the background color to some nice color that I want. Alright, so the next thing that I want to do is I want to upload the image in here, because right now even if I click on that test button, it doesn't show anything. So I want to display the image there. So I'm going to upload the game image. I also want to change the button text to play and add some space between the image and the button here. So I'm going to add a margin. Margin is called space, adding a space, which I've already covered in previous videos. And what I'm going to do next is I am going to go to the block section. So the block section is for writing the code for our app. So what am I going to do first? So I'm going to create a variables. So now you might be wondering, what are variables? Okay. Variables are actually the things that hold or store data we need to use later in our code. So you can change the value that a variable holds. So we can give a variable an initial starting value, and that's called initializing a variable. So first we have to initialize a variable. Think of it like when you're going to a supermarket, you need a basket, right? You need a basket to put all the items that you need. So variable is used to store the items. But if I just use initialize app variable name, I can only store one item. But before that, let me change the name of the variable here. So I want to change the name of the variable to say game. Alright, I just don't want to add just one item inside my basket. I want to add rock, paper, and scissors inside my basket, because these are the items that we will use later in our code. And so I will go to list. So to store more than one items in our code, we're going to use something called list. So list in programming is just like a list in real life. When you go to shopping, you just want to remember what you want to buy, so that's also a list. You also want to add more than one items in your basket, so that's also a list. So I can store more than one items in my basket, so I'm putting a list here. But I just don't want to put 1, 2, or 3 in my basket, right? I want to put the rock, paper, and scissors in my basket. So to do that, I have to go to text and drag and drop all these blocks inside the list. So why am I doing this? This is because I have to give it a name. I have to give the name of the image, and that's how I can store an image inside a variable. So let me see what the names of our items are. Okay, here I can see, right, rock is named as rock.jpg, paper is known as paper.png, and scissor is known as scissor.png. But this might be different for the images that you download, and you can always rename your image, but the extension might be different for you. So make sure to check this before writing your code. Okay, so I am going to write whatever it is written here. Alright, looks good. Now what do we need to do? We are going to create something called as functions. Okay, now you might be wondering, what is function? What are you talking about? Okay, so functions are basically a chunk of code that you can use again and again. Here we're gonna write a function that we want to change the picture in here. So we want to change the picture in here randomly from the list of this app variable. Okay, why are we doing that? Because that's the logic of rock, paper, and scissor game, right? So we are going to go to functions, and we can again rename this function. I'm going to rename it to change, because we are going to change the image of this to random images of rock, paper, and scissor. So as we are going to change the image, and image is named image1, we are going to go to image1 section here, and we are going to use this set image1 pictures to block to change the image of that picture. But we're not going to change it to game.jpg. We're going to change it to random items from these images. So for that, I have to go to list, because we're choosing a random item from the list, and I'm going to drag and drop this random item of list. But we're not choosing random items out of A and B. We are choosing a random items out of a variable game. So I am going to variable, and I'm choosing app variable game. So what this function does is it's gonna choose random items out of these three images. But it doesn't work yet. It doesn't work yet. Even if I click play, it's not changing. That's because we haven't written the code for clicking the button. And to use the function, we always have to call it. I'll show you what I mean by that. So when I go to button 1, and when I say button 1 is clicked, because I am going to perform some action when I click on button 1. Okay, so when button 1 is clicked, I want to call. What is meant by call is just using this function name that I created here, just calling this function that I created here. And with this, if I click on live test and play, see, I can change the images, but it looks like the images are cut out a bit. Some of the images are cut out, and I don't want it to be cut out like that. So if I don't want to be cut out like that, I go to design and go to image and choose picture resize mode as contain. Now let me live test it. So if I click on play, yeah, you could see it there, right? So the images were not changed. Okay, there is something wrong because the images are not displaying correctly. Why? Because I did this rocking.jpg. Rocking really is not called rocking, it should be rock.jpg. That's totally my miss. So if I click on live test again and click on play, okay, now it's working. Now it's showing all the images. Okay, cool. Okay, sometimes even if I click 2 times, it's showing the same image because it's randomly selecting the same image. So I want to add a loading effect onto it. So to add a loading effect, what I do is I go to image again and set a loading image before changing after clicking the button. So I set a loading image, and I also need to wait for the amount of time I want it to load. So I'll just say 1 second. Now it should show me loading effect before showing different images. So if I click on play, Okay, sometimes it doesn't work in the first time, so I'll click on live test again. Play. Okay, buddy, why are you not showing? Ah, I know why. Because I just didn't change the image here. It should be not game.jpg, but load.jpg. Now if I click on live test and if I click on play, okay, now it's showing me the loading image as well. Okay, it's loading for some time and it's showing me the image. Loading for some time and showing me the image. Okay, cool. Now what do I want to do? Okay, so the play button kind of works. Now I want to add the shaking functionality onto my app. What does that mean is that when the device is checked, I want to change the images. So for that, I have to use a component called Accelerometer. So what this does, it's a sensor which detects if the device has been shaken. And if you shake the device, it's gonna know, oh, the device has been shaken. So let me do something. Let me perform some action. So that's what this accelerometer is going to do. But okay, I don't see it here. It should be shown here. Okay, it's an invisible component, so you don't see it inside the screen. But as you can see here, I can see it below. Okay, so I'll go back to block section and I'll go to accelerometer. And when accelerometer is shaking, that means when our device is shaking and the sensor detects the shaking, what I'm gonna do is again I'm gonna call this same block. So I'm going to duplicate this, maybe duplicate, and put these items inside. Okay, so even when the my phone is shaking, it's going to change. But sometimes this doesn't work properly because the sensor's sensitivity is very low. So what I have to do now is to go to accelerometer and set the sensor sensitivity to high so that it easily detects that the device is shaking. Okay, I set it to high, and I also had to make it wait for a few seconds because otherwise the sensor would change some images very quickly, and we don't want to do that. We just want it to wait for a few time and do it. So I cannot check this on my laptop, but what I can do is to test this on my phone. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. Alright guys, so as you can see in the video, after testing my app, it looks like it is working even when I'm staking, and I can actually play with my app. So now what we will do is to make our app look a little bit more colorful. So for that, I want to change the background color every time I saw a new image out of rock, paper and scissor. So what I need to do for that is that I will go to screen 1 because I want to change the background color of screen 1 and drag and drop this item before changing the image to a random item of images from the app variable game. So I just don't want to change it to black, but I want to change it to random colors. So I will go to colors for that and choose a random color. Now let's see what happens when I test the app. Awesome, it looks like it's working. So that's it for the video today. Congratulations on making your own app. So if you like my video, please like, share and subscribe as it means a lot to me. Thank you so much.